Chapter 1. The Murder. It was a dark and stormy night in the small town of Willow Creek. A young boy named Kizano was sitting in his living room watching TV and eating snacks. It was 9 p.m. at night and his parents were asleep upstairs. Suddenly the lights went out and Kizano heard his parents screaming. He ran upstairs and found them dead, their throats slit. Kizano was horrified and called the police. Chapter 2. The Investigation. The police arrived and took Kizano to the station. They assigned the case to Detective Sebastian, a seasoned investigator who was known for his dedication and compassion. Sebastian interviewed Kizano and began to piece together what happened. He learned that Kizano's parents were killed by a burglar who broke into their home. Chapter 3. The Trauma. Kizano was devastated by the loss of his parents. He had nightmares about the murder, and he was afraid to be alone. He also started to act out at school, and he was struggling to keep up with his schoolwork. Chapter 4. The Bond. Sebastian took Kizano under his wing and helped him to heal from the trauma of the experience. He talked to Kizano about his feelings, and he helped him to understand that it was okay to grieve. Sebastian also helped Kizano to focus on his schoolwork, and he encouraged him to stay positive. Chapter 5. The Arrest. Sebastian followed the trail of the burglar and eventually found him. The burglar was a 40-year-old man named John who had a history of violence. John was arrested and charged with murder. Chapter 6. The Trial. John went on trial for the murder of Kizano's parents. The prosecution presented a strong case, and John was found guilty. He was sentenced to life in prison. Chapter 7. The Healing. With the help of Sebastian and his friends, Kizano began to heal from the trauma of the experience. He went to therapy, and he learned how to cope with his grief. He also started to volunteer at a local orphanage, helping other children who had lost their parents. Chapter 8. The Future. Kizano eventually went on to college, and he got a degree in social work. He now works as a social worker, helping other children who have been through similar experiences. He is grateful to Sebastian and his friends for helping him through the difficult times, and he knows that he would not be where he is today without them. Chapter 9. The Aftermath. The day after the murder, Kizano's friends and family come to his house to offer their support. They are all shocked and saddened by what has happened, but they are determined to help Kizano through this difficult time. Kizano's best friend, Akari, is especially helpful. She stays with Kizano all day and night, talking to him and helping him to cope with his grief. She also helps him to take care of his basic needs, such as eating and bathing. Sebastian also visits Kizano and offers his support. He tells Kizano that he will do everything he can to find the killer and bring him to justice. Kizano is grateful for the support of his friends and family, but he is still struggling to come to terms with what has happened. He has nightmares about the murder, and he is afraid to be alone. He also starts to act out at school, and he is struggling to keep up with his schoolwork. Chapter 10. The Therapy. Kizano's parents were both doctors, so they had a good health insurance plan. This allowed Kizano to see a therapist, who helped him to deal with his grief and trauma. The therapist helped Kizano to understand that it was okay to grieve, and that he was not alone. She also taught him coping mechanisms to help him deal with his nightmares and anxiety. Kizano's therapy sessions were helpful, but they were also difficult. He had to talk about the murder in detail, which was very painful. However, he knew that it was necessary to heal. Chapter 11. The Trial. John's trial lasted for 2 weeks. The prosecution presented a strong case, including eyewitness testimony and DNA evidence. John's defense was weak, and he was found guilty of murder. He was sentenced to life in prison. Kizano was relieved that John was found guilty, but he was also sad that he would never see his parents again. He knew that he would have to find a way to move on with his life. Chapter 12. The Healing. It took Kizano a long time to heal from the trauma of the murder. He continued to see a therapist, and he also joined a support group for children who had lost their parents. Slowly but surely, Kizano started to heal. He began to sleep better, and he was able to focus on his schoolwork. He also started to make new friends, and he began to enjoy life again. Chapter 13. The future Kizano eventually went on to college and he got a degree in social work. He now works as a social worker, helping other children who have been through similar experiences. He is grateful to Sebastian and his friends for helping him through the difficult times, and he knows that he would not be where he is today without them. Chapter 14. The Legacy. Kizano's story is a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope. He was able to overcome the trauma of the murder, and he is now helping others to do the same. His story is a testament to the power of love, compassion, and healing. Chapter 15. The reunion years later. Kizano is now a successful social worker. He has helped many children who have been through similar experiences to his own. He is grateful for the opportunity to help others, and he knows that he is making a difference in the world. One day, Kizano is working with a new client, a young boy named Akira. Akira is struggling to cope with the murder of his parents. Kizano sees a lot of himself in Akira, and he knows that he can help him. Kizano talks to Akira about his own experience, and he helps him to understand that it is okay to grieve. He also teaches Akira coping mechanisms to help him deal with his nightmares and anxiety. Akira starts to make progress, and he is grateful for Kizano's help. He knows that he would not be where he is today without him. Kizano is proud of the work he is doing, and he knows that he is making a difference in the world. He is grateful for the opportunity to help others, and he knows that he will continue to do so for many years to come. The end.